All right, guys, welcome to the next real estate chat with Anna and Peter.
So we are so excited to be back on and speaking to the rest of the SuiteLife family. We have great, exciting news to kick off 2022. First off, we just closed on Cranbrook Forest in Houston, Texas. It's a 262-unit apartment complex in North Houston. Our team has taken it over, hired an amazing community manager, and that's going to do so well. She's got a ton of experience, and we really can't wait to see the property turn around.
All right. So what we really wanted to talk to you guys about today was inflation. Guys, if y'all were part of our first real estate chat, you heard me talk with our good friend Alan Yu about inflation and how that was going to affect the multifamily industry. So inflation is really going to be good from a rent growth perspective for multifamily, and that's going to have a really good impact for apartment complexes as we move forward. And one of the things that we mentioned was that the Feds was using this term transitory in regards to inflation. And they just recently came out, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell recently came out and retracted his comment, retracted the word transitory. And what he's saying now is that inflation is going to be running hotter over the next year or two. All right, so guys, what we saw last month in December was a year-over-year increase in the CPI of 6.8%. The month before that was 6.6%. So this is the largest 12-month increase in the CPI since 1982. That's over 40 years, all right? So if you had $100 in the bank, you now have $93.
So in other words, if you're not getting at least a 7% raise, you can't maintain your current lifestyle.
That's a 7% decrease in lifestyle, guys.
So I typically buy groceries for our family, and I have noticed an increase in averages in our monthly grocery bill. But since I do it every week, or most of the weeks, the increases in price are subtle. They're not as noticeable. So one time I asked Peter to buy Chinese broccoli, and he comes home and is basically in shock because 1 pound of vegetables, Chinese broccoli, was $6.
Dude, that's more than the price of beef. I could have bought a steak. Well, maybe a small steak. More than the price of meat, guys, for vegetable. But I guess beef has gone up too.
But it's premium, guys. It's not just regular broccoli. So, and we want to maintain this lifestyle. This is what we're talking about. How do we maintain our lifestyle?
How do we maintain that pricing power so that our money grows, so that we can still buy Chinese broccoli and prime beef at the grocery store? And we're gonna talk about apartments and how you can do that later. But so some of you guys are familiar with Bill Ackman, okay? He's an amazing value investor, and he's been quoted saying that inflation is actually running closer to 10%, and he takes on that perspective through housing costs. So housing costs, based on surveys of the largest single-family rental operators, have actually gone up 17%. So if you take that 17% and factor it into the CPI, we're actually seeing closer to 10% increase or 10% increase year over year in inflation, or the consumer price index.
So can you tell us about our experience in our single family home operations?
Yeah. So like in our single family operations, we're seeing rent increases between 15 to 20%. So the number that Bill is getting from these large surveys and large operators is pretty in line with what we're seeing. The issue that the CPI has is, they use surveys to measure this. And, Paul Donovan, the chief economist over at UBS, has been quoted saying that these surveys are highly, highly inaccurate. Not only are they inaccurate, they're a lagging indicator. Mm-hmm. So what you guys are seeing right now at the grocery store, at the gas pump, in house prices, that's what's happening right now. I'm telling you, our grocery bill has almost doubled. Gas is almost doubled, but you're not seeing that in the CPI. It's a lagging indicator.
So we're very concerned about inflation last year and purchased tons of assets to hedge against inflation. So Warren Buffett's number one rule of investing is don't lose money.
So guys, that means putting cash in the bank is not a safe place in an inflationary environment. You need to be able to protect your purchasing power. You need to buy proven cash flowing assets or be in a situation where you won't be able to buy the same things today, tomorrow. And a lot of people are in that boat right now, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are only buying 3/4 of a pound of Chinese broccoli.
Yeah, I can't afford that full pound.
So what about apartments? Can you tell us a little bit about apartments and the power that has?
Yeah, so one of the best ways to reduce the impact of inflation, like I said, was to buy proven cash flowing assets, and apartment complexes are one of those. And the special thing about apartments, especially if you're buying an apartment in the right submarket, right demographics, is that you have pricing power. So what does pricing power mean? Pricing power means you have the ability to raise prices and then pass that cost on to the consumer. Okay, So giving you guys an example that's really easy to understand, Apple has pricing power. So an iPhone today might be $500. If they raise that price to $550 to combat inflation and increase in the expenses in their manufacturing, we're still probably going to buy it, right? I know I would. I mean, we're buying like $1,200 iPhones now. So that's why we think apartments are a great investment, because of pricing power.
So basically, we have the ability to increase the rents and pass it on to our consumer, which are, the tenants that live there, as costs increase. So basically, as our expenses increase, that spread will continue.
It'll stay flat.
It'll stay flat.
And right now, what we're seeing is our expenses are not increasing as fast as rent. So we're actually making more money, which is fantastic.
So get in now. So what is in your crystal ball, Peter, for 2022? What do we expect to see?
Well, with continued supply chain disruption from Omicron, a really tight labor market, we expect inflation to continue to run hot, well over 2% through 2022. It's a great thing for multifamily. Like a tight labor market means more people have jobs. They're making more money. They're going to be moving out and moving into their own housing. They're going to be moving out of their family, staying with their mom and dads and getting their own apartment complexes because they're making more money. So it's going to be a great place to be, or apartments are going to be a great place to be.
Sounds good. So that wraps up our real estate chat for this month. Hope you liked it. If you do, subscribe to our channel, hit up our website, get onto our, subscribe to our listserv, and you'll get more great content, great marketing information, and of course, great opportunities for the next investment.